So it's a love story told in smudged Sharpie and heart-shaped bruises about something I've spent the last 2 years eating and sleeping and breathing, something that seems pretty common through all of our presentations tonight, but that most of you probably don't even know exists. So who here has seen the movie Whip It? Okay, some people. So that's kind of like the gateway drug for roller derby for a lot of people. Yeah. So it's a Hollywoodized version of the sport that I skate 8 to 10 hours a week. But there's one scene where Ellen Page is trying to explain derby to her family. And basically she ends with, "I'm in love with this." And that part nails it. So even though I get to talk tonight, it's not just my love story. I'm part of a bigger love affair with roller derby that's being lived out by a whole community of thousands of people all around the world. And today, I get to share that love with you. So we joke that roller derby is kind of like Fight Club. So we meet in like grungy, empty buildings a bunch of times a week. We all have weird names. We don't really know each other in real life sometimes. But if the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club, the first rule of derby is you talk about derby all the time, always, to anyone who will listen and mostly to people who won't as well. So Derby and I first became acquainted in April of 2011. Of all things, I had a professor who was a ref for the Winnipeg Roller Derby League, wait a minute, who hooked me up with a pair of free tickets. If he had known how hard I would have had to fight to keep my GPA up because of roller derby, I think he probably would have left it out. So for you derby versions out there, I'll give you a quick rundown of the sport I figured out during the first bout. Oh, that's a tiny picture. All right, so roller derby is kind of like full contact, high-speed chess. So a whirling mixture of speed and skill and strategy broken down into these 2-minute shifts back-to-back called jams. So points are scored when the girl on the left, that's the jammer with the stars on her hat, passes the girls on the right, they're the blockers. They're playing offense and defense at the same time. So yes, it is a real sport. The teams are actually competing, there's strategy and there's actual rules. If you throw an elbow, you get a penalty, just like any other sport. But that being said, legal hits, they're awesome, and we're all for those. So awesome. So my first derby bout. I was head over heels in seconds. I was drunk on badassery and this raucous feminism and the high of the crowd, and also on cheap beer, that's a staple, but still. I was infatuated right away, and I didn't know why. All I knew was that I wanted to be a part of it. So I joined the WRDL's program for rookie skaters, or what we call fresh meat, that fall. Somehow I managed to convince myself that the fact that I'd never, ever roller skated, like ever, not even for kids' birthday parties, wouldn't be a problem. Instead, I spent the whole summer collecting gravel scars on my knees and willing my feet to somehow get their shit together in time to start the real training. And you know what? It was actually okay. The cool thing was, it kind of wasn't a problem. Everyone comes into roller derby pretty fresh. Even the most veteran skaters have only been around for 10 years. This is my graduating class. And we're such a diverse group. I mean, everyone comes in from all ages, all backgrounds, different bodies, different skills, and we're starting something great on the ground level all together. So, I mean, that didn't mean we didn't work our asses off. Learning to actually play derby is one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I loved it more every day, and I love the process. I saw everything I wanted to be reflected in the people around me. And it's the reason I've helped train everyone coming after. I'm inspired by that. They're such amazing people doing such amazing things. It takes a special kind of person to choose to want to do this, and I think that's why it's so easy to fall in love with the people you meet who are doing it. We recognize what we're doing in each other, and we feel at home. I met my best friend in our league, but I'm also instantly friends in any city with anyone who does this crazy stuff. They're also the best drinking buddies you'll ever find anywhere. So I mean, there's no doubt that I love the sport itself. 8 wheels on the floor, adrenaline that kicks in, seeing just how fast you can move or how far you can jump, how hard you can hit, all with people watching along. But I also love what happens between the whistles, and before them and after. I love how a group of people, so many of whom are outsiders everywhere else, can come together and be a group of our own. I love that derby celebrates the differences and the strength and not conforming for so many of us, especially because as women, we're taught to fit into these boxes that maybe aren't the right ones. So derby asks for a lot. It's a selfish lever. It will take whatever we give, and boy, do we give. Give up all of our evenings, so many emails. We spend all of our vacation days driving to exotic locales like Bemidji and Thunder Bay and even Regina to skate for an hour. We empty our wallets, we get tattoos, But what we get back infinitely outweighs anything we could ever put in. In return, we get to do something we love every single week, something that brings real joy. And we get to be a part of something that's bigger than ourselves, bigger than our league. And even if you're not in it, I mean, one step and you feel it. So one of Derby's great skaters, Bonnie Destroyer, once explained that most of us seem to find roller derby in transitional periods. So we ruin our bodies to save our souls. And for some reason, that makes perfect sense. And maybe that's why I fell so hard for roller derby, because I was in transition. Just like so many of us are always in transition. But derby gives us a chance to try to transition to a better version of ourselves. For some of us, that means taking on a name and inhabiting it as an alter ego for a little bit. But in time, kind of figure out that the people around you are the raddest, because you're kind of the raddest too. And it's okay to love that person that you're becoming. So it's what makes us drag our bruised, exhausted, hungover bodies out of bed the morning after a bout to put our still damp gear back on and take back the track. Because when I look at my friends and my teammates that I love so much, or even at skaters I just met, or even the people that will be hitting me in the next 30 seconds, I just see the same love reflected back from other people. Because we are all in love with this, and that's pretty awesome. So I invite you to come check out a bout sometime. I promise that you'll feel a little bit of that magic for yourself, even without skates on. And who knows, maybe you'll fall in love too.